Hi everyone, good evening. It's Angela and Crafting with Dawn Bibby, and it's Saturday the 18th of July and we are doing a live. I'm just going to pop in group and see if I've come on. I'm sorry I'm a couple of minutes late. Hope everybody's okay. We'll just pop something in here for you to see for a minute and I'll see if I've gone live or not. Yep, there we go. I know I've gone live because I just saw it flicking up. That's great. So hopefully we'll get somebody in, join in. I'll go to the events and see if I can join in there. There we go. How's everybody doing? I actually felt a little bit chilly, so I put my cardigan on. There I am. I keep losing myself. I'll go to... Oh, there's you. Let's see if I'm there. There I am. Marvellous. There we go. Hi, Joanne. Nice to see you. Hope everybody's okay. I'm just trying to make sure I'd gone live and see what we can do today. We did last week a background, if you remember, and this is one of the other backgrounds I did, and I had a little bit of time putting some decorations on it, so we'll probably finish off the other one today at some point, but that was good. Hi Ange, I couldn't find you on Dawn Bibby's page. Sorry, it's in the Crafting with Dawn Bibby group. It's not on Dawn Bibby Creations. So hopefully, I've only just come on. I was a few minutes late. So hi Carol. Hi Margaret. Hi Joanne. Hi Jackie. Thanks for joining us. Hope everybody's well. I've just come on. I was just showing you the little page that we did last week. And I saved, this is the actual, wait a minute, I'll get it out, cunningly, that's inside here. This is the one we actually did on the live. We did that background. That was my spare background, which I put a little bit of a decoration on too. So I will finish this one off. I don't know whether I'm going to do that now or whether I'll do it later. Let's have a look. I've got a few little bits here that I was thinking about using. I could do this just while we wait for see if anybody else is coming. I think there's still football going on, although obviously because we're not in the we've not got through, there might be a bit less people watching than there was before. I've got this little bit of mesh thing from Dawn. Hi Michelle, I'm only just starting. I was just going to play around with this little bit of what we did last week where I did the decoration. I was just going to sit and do a bit of putting it together again. See what it looked like. This bit is a funny little sticky thing. I wonder actually if it will go down with a bit of tape better than that. I know what's good for it. There's the tape runner. There's a tape runner. Let me see if I can put a bit of that on it. Yeah, that might work. I'll put that. A little bit of that on. I'm not doing very well with that either. That's not wanting to work. Probably go back to my sticky stuff. Oh, actually it has. A bit of Dawn's glue, give it a minute, and then a bit of sticky as well. Stick a bit more under there. That's it. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of that on. I can trim them off. Yeah, I watched the England game that we had the other day with Argentina, but that was about the only one I'd watched. So we made this background last time and I just thought I'd stick a few little bits and pieces onto it for now to show you how I decorate them. Dawn's glue does stick, it just is awkward items that I'm popping on at the minute. There we go. I've got a little bit of let's go here. I've got this which I've popped out. This is from All Around, the Stamp Area collection from All Around that I got from Dawn. I've got a little bit of ink attached to this brush from before, so I'm just going to stick a little bit around the edge. And on this is a bit of leftover card from last week. When I was showing you about making it, I had some bits left over. I've just torn around the edge. I thought it would make quite a good little bit of decoration on here. Let's have a little look, and normally just sort of place things before I decide where they're going. It's another little one. I wonder whether I might have a little bit coming along the bottom of there. Let's go with that. Hi Karen, hi Lorraine. Anybody else joined us? Yeah, football's not till 10, so if you're watching the final, I'll try and get myself organised in a way finished for that. Yeah, I might stick that a little bit on as well along the bottom of there. I'm just using the glue. I know this is a bit of vellum and I might see it, but because I'm putting things over the top, we might be all right. Not see everything. Stick that bit there. I can do with a bit of like texture from a bit of string or rope. Would be useful. Have I got any of that hanging about? I didn't get it ready for coming on, did I? Maybe not. I might just get a bit of brown paper bag. Let's see what we can do with a bit of brown paper bag as well. Might be a nice interesting bit of texture on it. Let's get that. Just lie it there. And I was going to put that one up there and that one up down there. So don't be frightened of just grabbing oddments from around the house that you might have. Oh, and this was the flower that I thought I would use, so I'll just stick a little bit of the brown around the edge of that just in case there's any light. Now this one is just a thin bit of paper, but I might get away with it. I might be able to do a little bit of something on there. And I think we might use a little bit of wood to stand our little fella on. That's got a few little pips. So I hope you're all right, Jackie. I know you've been having problems with your feet, and the consultant can't appear to do very much at the minute, but just let you put up with it. But hopefully you're managing a bit better. Hi Tracy. Anybody else that I've missed coming in? Hope everybody's well. I'm just having a little play with the All Around, finishing off a little bit of a design. We did this last week. We did the background at the last session. That's a little bit lost on there, so I might have to put some shadows around it. And I've got a little tag here. I like a little bit of a tag. Take them out. Where would we like the tag? On that side. Coming out there. Let's have a little look. Coming out there. Yeah, maybe that would do. So let's stick that little tag on the back of that bit. I'm just layering up a few little bits and pieces that I had that I've got out of the All Around junk journal and paper pad that I got from Dawn. I think I will stick that little bit of paper, this bit of thing down here. I wonder if a little bit of that would go on there as well. I'm scrunching it up. Let's put a little bit of gold on it to highlight some of the little scrunches. And I've got the gold in the background for the flower as well, so that might be nice. Just to be a little bit different. Can you see what I'm doing? So I'm just using this, it's antique paste actually, but you could use a wax. I've just got this paste handy at the minute, so that's been my little pot I've been using. I got that off Dawn as well. I get a bit messy when I do this. I'm just putting a little bit on, but I'm getting a bit carried away there. Got my little rag. And I think just because I've put a few wrinkles in it, it might look quite nice with that on it. Make them more wrinkly. And that's just a little bit of brown paper from a bag that was sitting on my desk. Stick that one down. Just about having texture. You could get a bit of lace. Some of Dawn's lace might be nice. And what else have we got? We've got these little bits that we're going to do. So I'm going to stick that one on there and that one on there, I think. That's what I was doing. You can do 3D if you want to as well. I'm just going to go flat for the minute with these. And that was just a piece of the leftover when we were doing the background. I was trying out my stamps. If you remember, I had that little stamp there and I was trying them out on a piece of other paper, which I've used today just to make this background with. And stick that there. There we go. Okay, and then we want a little bit of a flower coming in. Onto there, which is going to lift up a bit, and I think we're going to have a little birdie sitting down on this little corner down here. So I'm bunching them all up together. Got a little bit of a border going on. Let's cut that little bit off. Hi Vivian. I'm just playing with it with that topper that we made, the little journal page that we started last week. I'm just having a little go with it at the minute. So I'm going to stick that onto 3D. Let me have a look and see what I've got. I've got some Dawn's 3D form there that I'll have to do. That one will do. I'll just put a little bit on. Could stick this one up onto card if you wanted a bit more solid, but it'll be fine in my little book when it goes in my book. Just stick a little bit of thing on there. Hi Julie. Don't know what everybody's been up to today. It's been a bit cooler here, so a little bit of rain. Get them off. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm messing. Stop messing on. That's it. I think I'll let it come off the page a little bit there. That'd be nice. Just onto foam. Yeah, been a little bit of a rain here today, so I haven't been very far. Kids are going to take Albie out for a walk while I'm on. And Imogen, that's the news. I knew there was some news. Imogen has just got back from Germany. Hooray! So I picked her up last night. Had a little run out to see Isla in our new flat. So I have been a little bit busy. Popped down to Sheffield to see Isla. So she's moved into her flat ready to start work at the end of the month. So she starts at the end of the month. And then Imogen arrived back last night. So I drove up from Isla's straight to the airport and picked Isla up from the airport, which was great. There we go. We're going to need a bit of shadow around that flower because it's just sitting there, isn't it? Don't know if I want any more little bits. There's a little sticker there. Stick a little sticker down that end. There's another little sticker here if we fancy another sticker anywhere. I'll just go for a splodge up there. That's fine. I might need a bit more purple in that bottom corner. Just what's on me on there will do. And just what's on here. Put a little bit onto that corner. So I've got a little purple splodge on there going on, and a little bit down there. That'll do. And then we'll just need a bit of a shadow around that. What have I got for my shadow? Where's me brush? With water in. Is that a water brush? That's a water brush. Do I have a colour handy that I can use? Grey. Just a minute. I'll try this soft grey one, just see if that's any good. Yeah, I'm absolutely chuffed to bits that Emmy's back. I think she was ready to come home. She was missing us all. I need brown actually, but we'll have a little look. So I'm just going to try and do a little bit of a shadow underneath there with my brush. Grey might be a bit harsh. Maybe I need a bit of brown. Let's get that one. Hi Joe. Just try a bit of that. I know that's like not watery stuff, but it'll be all right. I might need a bit of water. My brush got any in? Yes, it has. Right, let's just do a little shadow under there if I can with this colour. I don't want to put a lot on because the paper's not necessarily a water one, a thingy, watercolour one. But I'll just put a little bit under here. Just to pick up where that flower is, because the flower's a little bit lost on the page. That's all right. Don't know if I'm getting any of it on there. Can you see it? Is it coming on? Am I just imagining it? If it's not on when I come later and I look to it, because it doesn't look as if it's anything actually happening there. I think I'm just putting wet on. I've got a pen, one of them crayons from Tim Holtz somewhere. They're quite good. I might use that to put it on. Look. I'm struggling to see it. Hi Carol, thanks for joining us. We've not long started. This is just the little starter that I'm doing at the minute. I did a background for a journal page last week, and I'm just doing a little bit of titivating it up. Putting a little bit of something on it. Anyway, I might have to come and do that later with my other pencil if you cannot see it. I'm just trying to get a little bit of shadow around there so that I think it is working. There, just because that flower was looking a little bit like it needed something behind it. Hopefully that's helped a little bit. When it's dry, I'll have a little look. That's it. And I'll probably go around the bird when the bird's there, but that's the idea. I'll do that a little bit later. And you could add more things if you want to. I've got a little Be Happy as well that we could pop up on there. If you want to stick it on a bit more paper. Have I got any more of my little scratty bits from last week? That was a bit last week. That had the trial and error for the poem on it, didn't it? Tell you what I'll do. I'm going to take this side off here. I'm going to use that. I'm going to tear that off again in half. So your little bits of scraps. And we'll just go half again for that, and we'll stick it on top and bottom, I think, on there. Give it a little bit of colour. Just with what's left on the brush. I'm not loading my brush up with anything else. There's a bit of purple on that brush, and there's a bit of brown on this brush. We'll just do that, and then we'll stick that top and bottom onto there, just so that stands out a little bit more. A little bit on there, And I think I'll leave that where you can see the black from the print as well on the bottom. That'd be interesting. And a bit on the top. That bit needs to be pulled off. That's it. And that'll just make it have something to stand on. And we can put that wherever we want. Maybe pop it there. So stick that on. And that's very quickly done. I have not really taken much time about this one. But hopefully it just gives you an idea. Most of my little bits and pieces are all bunched up together with a little bit of framing down that side with a little bit of ribbon and net. Cut that off, cut that off. There we go. And then we can just, if there's anything else you want to do with it, you can do that later once you've had a little look at it. That's quite simple. And then I have a bit more bits and pieces on this one that I did after the last live. I did the same with just a couple of little bits of paper underneath. I've got the L shape with some of the lines there. Got an extra bit of twine on, which I would like to put a bit more twine on this one. So I think if I can find any more twine, there will be a bit more little bits of twine going to go onto that. But that just gives you an idea of somewhere to start, really, with a little bit of a journaly page. Put a little bit of yellow on that bit, a little bit of light. And a little birdie. That's it, and that'll do. I think that'll do for now, and I'll have another little look at it later on. I tend to come back and fiddle. I think I might need a few more little bits of twine and oddments. But I just wanted to do that as a little starter while we're waiting to see who was joining in, and at least get a bit of a start on finishing this one off. And I'll have another little go and see what I can do. And I'll post it online. So there we go. That was just a little bit of what we did last week finished. And then we're going to have a little look at some other bits and pieces now. So I will pop these little bits I was going to put in the little beetle as well, somewhere, a little bit of yellow. But I'm going to have a little bit play with that later, I think, as well. I don't finish things off straight away, do I? I always like to have a little bit more, come back to things later. I don't know if anybody else is like that. And sometimes I'll take a photograph and then I'll look at it and then I'll have another little think and I'll have another little play. But I think that's the best way, really, not to sort of rush with things. So that's those two little ones. There you go. So that just starts us off, and then we can see what else we're going to do today. So the first thing that I thought would do, oh hang on, let me just see if there's anything anybody said before we go. I think I've seen most people coming in. If I've missed you, hello, sorry about that. And if you're watching on catch up, thank you very much. How's my knee, says Jackie. My knee is still a bit dodgy, and I'm just waiting. The consultant appointment was put off until August, so I haven't seen the consultant yet. I've just got to wait for August and see what they say. I think at the very least I'll be getting steroid injections, but we'll see if he thinks it's worth doing anything else when I go. Otherwise, that's all good. Just plodding along, as we all do. So what I thought I'm going to start with today is, I was looking at some of my embossing folders, playing around with embossing folders. I've got this one from Dawn, which is a peacock one. It's a Spile Binders, but it was a Dawn Bibby design peacock feather. So I've just done a few bits of watercolour card stock that I've embossed in my machine ready. And I thought we'd just look at a few different options on making backgrounds for using your embossing folders. So that's what I'm going to start with today. So I'll show you this one first. This is one I started earlier. I'll just do a little bit. This is some of the watercolour aqua markers that I got from Studio Light from Dawn. So I'll show you what I did there. I've done very simple, decided to just do a little bit of colouring in. So I'll get my colouring pen here. I'm just going to use it like a pen. I'm going to colour a little bit in there, get a little bit of blue. A little bit of blue around there, a little bit of blue there. We might have a little bit more purple coming in here, coming down, and I'm just very roughly putting a bit of colour on to this feather. That's it. And then I'll just get a little bit of kitchen roll ready, which is just going to catch all of the bits. That's it. And then I'm going to spritz it. Hi Louise, thanks for joining us. There we go. So just give it a good watering. Let it run. And you can see with this one, it's really nice because it's got those feathers. It kind of runs through the grooves of the feather, which I think looks really good. Well, I think that's quite effective. This one I did earlier on for you, just so you could see what it would look like. I'll do a little bit more on this one. I've got a little bit of wet going on here now, but I better do it while it's while I've got it here. And I'm not being that like precious with how I do it. I'm just having a go at sticking a bit of colour on. There we go. Put it on there. I might put a bit more down here. Just wherever you want it. Because we're just going to use the water to let it run and merge. A bit of green on there. More on there. You can see I'm just sort of roughly going over my area with the pen, and then we're just going to go twiddly-dee with the bit water, and then let it run in the in all the channels. So these little pens are quite nice to use with your embossing folders. Look at that, isn't it lovely? And it's given me a really lovely colour mix, those blues and greens. And you can see it's sort of going in the grooves of the feathers. So that looks pretty cool to me, I reckon. Just let it run around a little bit in all the grooves, and then leave it to dry. And then if you want to do anything else later, you can do a little bit more. So Fussy-cut and peacock feathers at the minute for Michelle. I've done the right thing today, peacocks. So there you go, there's one done. I'm going to leave that down here to dry off, and we can just check it out later and see what it looks like when it's dried a bit, rather than forcing it dry with the heat gun. I'm going to leave that one there. Right, this was another one where I have used some of those pigment powders. So if you've got anything like Brushos or other people's makes, I don't think there's anything on Dawn's website that looked the same to me. I couldn't find anything that she's got. I was looking to see if what do you call me did anything. Pentart. So if anybody knows, I don't know whether Dawn gets hold of them, but if you've got Brushos or anything like that, it'll be fine. I think I'm just going to put a little bit of a green on there and there. I'm sprinkling it first, and then I'm going to spritz it. You can do it whichever way you want. So we'll do that one. And I'll just spritz it, and you can see the green. So it's just ideas really. Any embossing folder at all you can do this with, just to get a little bit of something a bit different. Now that's wet, we could add some other colour. Just going to try and be careful really with me colours, because sometimes you can end up with like a mud if you're not careful. So you can do a little bit and then leave it to dry in between. I've done a few different colours here that's not really related to peacock feathers as such, but yeah, I'm not going to let them run too much because I will get a puddle of mud in the middle, I reckon. Green and purple tend to make a nice mud colour, so I might leave that and then I can come back and add a bit more to it later. But that's just the idea of those sort of powders. I'm just using my bit of cloth here like a little paintbrush to spread some of that out without making it muddy. There you go. So that's another one. Just another thought. I don't know whether you can see that quite so well as I can on the screen, but maybe if we leave them and come back to it later, you shall be able to see better. I'm going to mop that puddle in the middle up a little bit because it's quite a heavy puddle in the middle. That's it. And there's a little bit of gold here which I'll pop on. Why not? I'll just go a bit crazy with gold at the end and it'll just see what else it makes, and then we'll leave that one to dry and have another little go. See what that looks like when it's dried. There we go. Right, so there's a couple of little splodges, but we're going to leave them to dry because they're quite messy, and see what they look like once they've actually settled down. Let me pop that one under the table and right under there. There we go. And the last one, I've done a little bit already on this one. This is like a bit of a watercolory paint effect. So you could use some of your watercolour paints. The ones I've got, again, they're just out of my stash. Hi Julie. Anybody else is here that I have not seen? Hello, hope you're okay. So I'm just going to get a couple of colours out of my little watercolour palette. This brush is a little bit red actually, must have used it. Let's have a bit more. And I'm just going to paint this corner. And get a little bit of water on it and run some of that down. That's it. I might be able to get a bit on top of that. See what that does if we get a bit of blue. All I've done is put some colours on in different ways, but they're all sort of water-based ones. So I've then spritzed them all just to see what they do. Mix that all on. We could do with a bit more water and just add a bit more green around here. I'll mix those two colours up that I've got left and we'll just do a bit more spritzing. Let them run around. So again, that's just another one where I'm just going to let them run. Let's get that purple one, that blue one in the middle of the pink. Let that run around a little bit as well. There we go. So I started that one a bit earlier with some of my colour that was already there. That's it, and it's quite pale, but we'll let that dry and that'll be another nice little topper, a little background, sorry, not a topper, a background. So that was just the first little idea that I wanted to share with you. Just using different bits and pieces to stick a bit of colour onto your embossing folder backgrounds and see what happens using some of those water-based mediums. And they give you quite a nice background, so you can make your own background papers if you haven't got one that you like straight off. So that was the first little bit of a demo that I thought I would do. hopefully you'll be able to see that, and we'll let that dry. These are very pale sort of pearly colours, but they'll be quite a nice mix when they dry off as well. And I'll force dry them with the gun if they aren't dry at the end, but I'm going to leave them for a bit of time to see if they will dry off a little bit. So that was the aqua markers, some watercolory pearly paints, and some pigment powders as some ideas for you. Now the next one I've got, let me just get another bit of paper so I'm not working onto nothing, because I like to have a bit of something to pick it all up on so I can use the background. I'll just get a bit more watercolour. Hi there, I think that's Michelle has joined us as well on our page. So the next one, I'm going to use some of the water reactive inks from Studio Light that we've got. Again, I'm sticking with the same embossing folder just so you can see the different effects on the same thing. So let us go for again, I don't really think it matters which colour I do here. Let's get the purple and the blue and the green. I'm just going to go for traditional colours on these ones. I'll go right in the middle. I'll give myself a nice dark centre. And we'll put a little bit of blue right on there. Get some purple and come down a bit with the purple and then up at the top. So I'm not being too precious, but hopefully it'll look all right when we've done it. And this is just a little section, and then a bit of greeny coloured on that bit. There we go. I'm going to go all over that bit for me. You can go around with your colours. I might get a little bit more blue in to blend them round. A little bit more purple in just to blend the colours out a bit. Go. So we can just use the inks and it'll pick up that background design nicely. I think most of these are, well, there's mint, blues and pinks, I think they are, those three. They're from the 3 different sets. So we've got that one first. Now, what should we do with this one? I think I was going to go over with a little ink pad. So I've got a blue navy ink pad I got off Dawn as well. And I'm just lightly going to go over the top and just brush it to get a little bit of a pickup on the feathers. Can you see that? So it's just going to pick up on the feathers a little bit and give them a little bit of definition with the blue. So that's like a navy blue I've gone over the top with. There we go. Well, that's quite a nice effect. There we are. Well, that's one. Now if we want to, we can also do that on the other side. So go onto the deboss. So that's on the embossed side where it's sticking up. This is on the debossed. So we'll do that side as well, and then you can see the two different ways it looks. Oh, gone on the purple with my green. Goodness me. That'll create my own colour there, look. just going to go over the top of this a bit more randomly. I'm sure it's going to give me some colour just to be a bit faster. Nice bit of green, a bit of purple. That's blue, it's not even purple. I think my blue and my green are quite similar, so maybe I should have got a different colour going on there. I'm just going to go around with my purple. Really, I'm doing this because I think, oh, on the camera you might see the purple better. But anyway, you can do whatever colours you want really, and just get the colour laid down roughly. That's it. So we've got it on there again. And that's on the debossed side, so that's where it's an innie bit, if that makes sense. So we're now on the innie side, and then I'll use the same dark blue dye ink pad that I got off Dawn, and we'll go over this one and see what it looks like, and then you can see the two different ways of doing it. Now I might go round and round in circles for this one, just so I catch, because I'm catching different bits of this one. You should leave the colour in the downy bits and have the darker colour sort of in the other bits there. You get a different kind of effect going on. And you can just be light like that. And you can work it in a little bit more and get the background really nice and dark. And that's like a nice navy colour. And then the lighter colour that I put on, the purple and the green and the blue, where the feathers are, that's going to then show up on this one. So it just gives you the two different ways of which side you put your ink, your extra ink. And you can be heavy-handed there, as I'm putting quite a fair bit on, to get that background really dark. You can still be light if you want to, but I quite like that dark background. So I made my own lovely backgrounds again there. That'll do, I think that's fine. And then I'll just show you those two side by side so you can see. So that's the debossed side and that's the embossed side. There you go. Oh, I know, my words are all over the place, so normally these lovely ladies can just work it out. But they're two different ways, so you get the different colourways coming out, but they're lovely. I love the dark one as well, really like that effect. Now what I have done on another dark one, I'll show you this dark one. So this one, I then decided I was going to add a few waxes to it. So that's another dark one. The background on this, I do believe, was a foresty green colour. And then I've put some wax on top. So if I show you on this one, we could probably titivate this one up a little bit if I've got any wax handy, or other colours. I do have some in my little drawer here. Got a bit of teal, I've got a bit of silver. Should I put a little bit of silver in? Waxes, Dawn has different pentart waxes. So normally you put it on my little ring finger, and then I can just be a bit light touch. And I'm going to put the silver sort of in between here. I just think that'll make it a little bit more metallic looking. I'm not being careful there either, I didn't tap it off, I just did it. But it's quite a forgiving wax, so I'll just go with it. But it just gives it a different look in the background. A bit more. And it just makes it look like a bit of a metallic-y thing really as well, doesn't it? So I'm making my own little background. So you can add a bit of wax as well if you want to make it a little bit more special. There's a little bit of silver wax gone on. I hope you can see a little bit of what's going on there. A little bit of a tealy wax here. See what that one looks like. Put a little bit more teal in that area. Like that. And then I think on the other one, because they were like goldy feathers, I got my antique paste out again. I'm going to be absolutely covered. I'll have to go and wash my hands halfway through this, I think. And then just pick it up a little bit of gold around that middle bit. Because there's loads of colours in our peacock feathers, aren't there? And you're just getting those ridges coming up on this one as well. It's looking lovely. A little bit on the tips of the feathers as well. So you can have fun. This is another good thing to do if you're not really sure what you want to do with yourself, making little backgrounds. And then we've got some lovely toppers from Dawn, so they will go fabulously. So there you go. So these are some of the ones that I did the 2 different ways there. That's the one I did before the live. And then I think the only other things I've got, look at the state of me here, until I get on and do a card. So these ones I've put through the embossing folder machine whilst I've got, oh, that's just another one again, wet. I think I did this one wet. I put some of this ink onto the paper just randomly. Then I put it through the embossing machine after spritzing it so it was wet, and then brought it back out. And again, I went over the top of that with the blue, just a very pale blue. I didn't put a lot on that one. This one, I put the ink into the folder. So I put some colour onto the folder, spritzed the paper, so the paper was wet, stuck it in, and then I think that's what came out of that one, if I'm not mistaken. So that's another one, but that's quite a messy thing to do now. But that's always worth a try as well. So I've got a few nice backgrounds here that I can use. These ones actually were the ones, they're still drying. So these are the ones I did second time round, because they were that was a bit wishy-washy. So I did it again. That was onto the folder and that was on the paper first. So I splodged colour on the paper, spray, run it through the machine whilst it was wet. I tend to get my embossing folder and put my bit of paper in. So pretend it's that one. Put my paper in. This has got all the colour on it. And then I spray, and then I stick a little bit of kitchen roll round to catch any of the drips. So then I push it through my machine like I would normally, because that's quite thin, but it just means that I then catch some of the drips of the water when it comes out, if that makes sense. So that one was onto the paper, this one was onto the embossing folder, if that makes sense. Yes, I normally have some baby Albi's wipes actually around, just if I get really messy. But yeah, so I've done a few little backgrounds there for you. Hopefully that's just some ideas. That's what I thought I'd start off with for you tonight. So I am going to very quickly give these hands a little mini wash. Actually, I'm not, because I'm going to get messy again in a minute, so let's not bother. Let's just rub them on here so I know there's nothing too much coming off on me, onto my projects. Yeah, they're fine. We'll be all right. So let's put these to the side. That was the demonstration with just the same embossing folder, but using some different ideas. I don't know if any of these are dry down here yet. Not quite. I love that one. Don't know if you can see the colours on there. That's come out nice with just the markers. Lovely. Let me put it over there a bit, because I think that's better. Sorry, I was waiting for my camera to catch up, so I had it too close to me. So let me put it over there a bit and down a bit. That's it. There you go. And it's still a little bit damp, so I'll just wait. Remind me to see if you want to see it at the end. I think that's just about done. The brushy one is still absolutely soaking, so I'll leave that one down there. And then this pearly sort of watercolour paint one is actually not too bad. There, got to make sure I put it in the right spot. Sorry everyone, I'm just watching the screen so I can see where I'm putting it, so you can see that's quite a sort of ethereal, but it's nice. That would look nice with it when it's dry, just putting a little bit of wax over to pick up the actual shape of the feathers once you've got that lovely background on. So that's what we can do later. I'll just let it dry. Right, there we are. So that's number one. And we're going to take that forward into the demonstration using some of those techniques into the next project that I've got for you. Let me just see where I've put them. Here we go. I haven't got a huge lot for you tonight, so we may be not on for very long. So the first card I've picked Dawn's Christmas, one of her Christmas ones, which is the Woodland Tales. So there's some of the big pictures from the Woodland Tales that she's got, and various backgrounds. And there are some lovely sort of smaller rectangle ones. Let me get them out because that's what I've got to use. Just keep them in my little folder. So the first card we can start because it's just about done, and I've got another embossing folder I've used, and we've got some other bits ready to go. So these are the little rectangular shapes that I was going to start using. I've cut them all out from the page ready, so I could just pick what I fancied using. Really, really pretty, and I like the browns and the greens. Love the little mouse and the robin and the squirrel. So there's some lovely ones in that. So that's Woodland Tale, the Christmas Woodland Tale collection that I've got out. And this embossing folder is a one that I've bought from Dawn, but I don't think it's a one that Dawn designed. I'm not sure. It's another Spellbinders one. And it's floral around the outside, but they look a bit to me like a Christmas rose kind of design. So I thought, oh, I'll use that as my background because it's quite a nice folder. So I think I showed you that one before. We did a one before with it, and I've embossed some of the brown card that comes in the Woodland Tale collection pack that you get as a add-on. It's the one that's got the wood grain in. You could use any other brown if you wanted to. And I've embossed a bisque one as well. So the first one that I'm doing, we're going to use the brown. So for the card, I've got my lovely green, olivey green one card. And I've just cut it in, I've just folded it in half and scored it down there. So that's the card base. Now I might do a little bit of gutting here because I know everybody's going to be upset with me if I don't. So I've chosen to mat one of Dawn's lovely glitter cards on next, which is the bit that I'm going to gut because I can't use all of that up and just waste it. Then I've got the brown, and that's what we're going to put on next. And then I'm going to use a fox and another bit of gold on there, and that's going to be it. I'm not doing anything fancy in terms of shaped cards today. I'm just doing straightforward nice cards. But again, with this one I decided that I would use the waxes or the paste, whichever you've got. So I'm going to get a little bit of this out on there. And I'm going to go into the centre of the flowers with a bit of that gold paste or wax, just to highlight on that brown card. I think it'll just look nice. Buffering, I haven't seen any on my page, but I'm not watching it religiously because I'm doing this as well, aren't I? So it's not necessarily that I'm going to see it doing it. but hopefully you can still watch, and if not, when it goes on to, hopefully when it records, it doesn't record the buffering. If I can download it afterwards, I can get it. I'm not caught up on Facebook, on YouTube yet, but I will get them onto YouTube. And I just thought that gold looked nice on the brown, just to pick out those flowers. So the waxes is a very quick and easy way with your embossing folders, just to pick up the detail, and you see it, you know, see it lovely there, don't you? Don't need to put a ton on. I think it's just a little enough to pick up those flowers. There you go, and I've got the gold, so that gold goes nicely with the gold colours that we've got. So let me just gut a little bit of this with the trimmer. I've got to manage to get a blade on this one, so I know that it's quite well over. You can see there I'm only going to be showing a little bit, so I'm going to put a bit out. I'm going to line it up with the inch, I think, there, bring it down to about the inch there, take it down, and I've got an inch at the bottom. That's it. Find myself again. If I line it up, I'm putting it to the inch on this side, and then I'll line the blade up with the inch there, so hopefully I'll be roughly in the right place when I'm coming to chop. And I should have an inch or so at the bottom, that end as well. Hopefully. I might have to go back in again and do a little bit more snipping if I haven't quite got my corners right. Not quite. And I can use that for something else, can't I? That's it, great. So then we've just got this side. And should be around about there. That's it. So that I can use that again for something else. So it was a good job done. We've gutted it this time. So I'm going to stick these ones on, onto there and onto there. Lovely. Oh, maybe if I can find out from Dawn what the app is that she did when she's saying she's going to try and do YouTube and Facebook together. If it's something that we can use when she gets the hang of it, maybe that's something that we can do on these lives as well. We'll have to have a little look, and then they'll be able to go sort of. I think the YouTube, we had no buffering when Dawn did a live on the YouTube, so it might be a better option. I'm just going to stick that on there, and I'm just going to stick this one down on there. I'm not going 3D yet. I'm just using Dawn's glue to stick it on, which is really good. Pop that on there. I've already just like cut them ready. When I'm at this angle, I can't always see if I'm straight, so please forgive me if anything's a bit wonky, which it is a little bit, but that might also be me having cut it slightly wonkily. Yeah, I think I might have just cut it slightly wonky as well, so we'll just have to go with it. Obviously was hurrying when I was getting ready for the live. I wonder if I cut that one neater. No, I didn't cut that one out ready. That'll do. We're all right. I'm not going to worry too much if it's not flat, straight. We'll get away with it. I'll give my mum it for Christmas and she'll be happy. She won't mind if there's anything wonky. Neither will any of the kids, so that's fine. And then I've got this lovely fox cut out, which I thought would stick onto there, and we can 3D that one up a little bit. And then if you want to put any more gold on those, if they're not showing up as much, we can actually put a little bit more there, that centre. Just especially where it's sort of sticking out, and you can see it. There we go. There's a little bit up there, isn't there? I missed. Yeah, that's good. There we go. So we'll pop this on here. I shall give that a little gut as well. Might as well. I'll try and be good. I'll just give it an inch around, and then I know that I've got room. I feel more. I think it's got enough space then if I do about an inch. It's easier when you're actually doing it from above, not from a funny angle as well, to get your blade where you want it. Because I'm kind of doing it at a funny angle, but we're all right. We're getting there. I'm looking forward to seeing Louisa's live. However, I'm not sure that I'm going to be there for the actual live. On Tuesday, it's Isla's graduation, and I do believe that Louisa's going to try and come live on Tuesday afternoon, and Isla's graduation is at 1:30. So I'm going to watch it on catch up, Louise. I'm really sorry that I can't be there for your first one, but I will be with you in spirit. There we go. But I'll be, looking forward to seeing what you're doing. And watch it on catch up. Very exciting. The more lives we can get, the better for Dawn. So it's really good to get somebody else on board as well. And it's nice having different ideas, because we all do, we all have our different ways of doing things and different things that we like doing. So it'd be good to have. I'll definitely watch on catch up though, Louise, but yeah, I can't really miss her graduation. She's been doing this degree for 5 years and working for it for quite some time, so it's going to be quite an emotional one, I think, and quite an important day. So that's Tuesday next week. We're going. No, is it Tuesday? Oh, it's either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm driving down one day, and then we've got the thing the other day. So might be Wednesday for the graduation and Tuesday for me driving down to Nottingham. So next week I won't be doing Saturday like I'm doing today. I think Dawn's going to try and do one. She's going on a little jolly soon, isn't she? So I think that's the plan at the minute, and there'll be a post going up shortly. So I always worry about these middly bits. I get a bit stressed by gutting cards because I don't like the middly bits being a bit wibbly wobbly. So I'm going to stick a bit more of that down there. I normally just do not gut them because I just get stressed by that wibbly wobbliness. But there, that's all right. That's better. Put the foam pad in the middle and it will help it. There we go. So let's get them off. Marvellous. I'm not having much luck today with me picking me things off here, am I? The technique must be a bit off. That's it. I'm just trying to poke in to pick it off. There we go. There. And then try and get that in the middle as well, which is always a bit of a feat. Again, I might be a bit wonky, but we'll just go with it. So we'll pop that in the middle, and there's that lovely embossing folder in the background. I think that looks really nice. And a bit of glitter and bling just to highlight it. So we should have some little bits and pieces that I've cut out ready so that we could maybe add a few embellishments on this one. So let's have a little peek, see what we've got. A few little bits here, and I've got a few little bits there in a little tray. See what we would like. There's a nice little another little lantern. I might put the little lantern and pop another one on, but I'll get rid of that little white bit first. These and then these might go around them. Actually, I'll just check what's in this little folder. I think most of these are the little critters. That's like a nice tall one. These are other little critters who might want to join in. So if we want another little baby fox down there, we could have another little baby fox with its little lantern. We'll keep that one out. We've got a little ribbon. There's quite a lot of little bits in here that look lovely. Christmas hooks, warm winter wishes. I might get a little sentiment out. And then I've got a few little bits here. So let me just have a little look. Put that to the side a minute, because I'm just going to try and trim my lantern, because I think that lantern might be going to go in. I think people just like to have the lives to have some company as well, though, sometimes, Michelle. So I think it's just a nice thing to do. It's nice to do simple cards. It's nice to do something a bit more, you know, different. And sometimes we'll do different, sometimes we'll just do simple. And I'm going for fairly simple today, but I thought I'd do a little bit of sort of background techniques as well as a starter. Now I feel as if I'm actually going to cut that off already, I can tell. So do you know what I'm going to do? I can feel I'm not getting a good angle on it, so I'm just going to cut it off. I'm not going to have my handle on because I know I'll make a mess of it. There. We'll just have it without a handle, and that makes it a whole lot easier. So let's get that out. We'll have another little one of them. I've got some of these ready done. And we could pop some of these up. So just do a little bit of placing and thinking about where you want your bits and pieces first before you start sticking. Quite like that shape there because it's a little bit of a one round. I think I'm going to stick this onto a bit of gold to make it stand out a little bit more as well. I think that'll look good. And we might have a little bit of a ribbon. And I've got a star, but that star's a bit too big to go on there. That would have been nice. Maybe we're going to have a little star coming down the bottom too. Anyway, we'll think about it. So what I'll do first is I'm going to put these onto some gold because I think it'll just make them stand out a little bit. And because we did our gutting, that means I have got some bits of gold that I can use. And I'm not feeling like I'm wasting anything. And we might have, if that's all right, we'll do that. So I've roughly cut these out as well. You can see I haven't really gone right in and out of all the little needles because that's just a bit too hard. I've got a bit of old brown on there, so I can go around and just take the edge off that so it's not white in my face. And I'm not putting any more ink on, it's just what's been on my brown brush already. But then you can see the difference between the two. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. And it just takes the white off there a little bit so that it should sit nicely on the background. Yeah, so I'll do that with both of those with my leaves, and it'll just help take that off a little bit. There we go. And that's it. I think this one's all right without going around it, but we'll just do it anyway, just in case. And then we'll stick these on and cut them out. Die cutting. I have got a die cutting machine. I did do a live earlier on where I did some lovely coloured backgrounds, and then I did some die cutting out of Dawn's you know, the collection that's like oriental and there's some silhouette style dies. I cut the die cuts out in for the silhouette that went over the top of the colourful background, and I think I did that recently with some other Christmas ones that I did. So maybe I have to have a little watch back on my lives. I've done that kind of die cutting. At the minute, mostly I'm just fussy cutting these out, but you could, if you've got any other die cutting sort of leaves and shapes, then you could have some of those ready. I know if you watch, Lorraine's always well prepared, and she always has a little stash of leaves and flowers and things already die cut out. So if I was more organised, I would have them ready, and then they could also be used in the little creations, you know, your little embellishments. I'm just going fairly close here, you can see. So I just want it to have a little bit of a bling around the back so that it'll just stand out a little bit better on the picture. You can see if I put it on there now, I can see it a little bit more. Just gives it that little bit of an edge. You could go around with a little gold pen if you've got a little gold pen, if you wanted to not use your card. But yeah, I'll have a look. I can think about some die cutting and how to use those in the crafting. That would be I like having any ideas and things you want me to do. I've always been very much a stamper and colourer, backgroundy kind of person, and then just building cards up. But I do have loads of little die cut shapes. I collect everything really. You'll see on one of the other ones I've got coming up, I've used a combined folder. It's not from Dawn, but it's a embossing and a stamping die cutting one. But they're quite handy, yeah, so I can have a look at using some, get some ideas for that. But yeah, if you look back, I think on one of them early on, it was when I did the watercolour markers, when I did those aqua markers, and I was showing people how to use the Studio Light aqua markers. I did some silhouette die cuts as the shapes over the top. So yeah, I'm just going to go up in the back, give it a good burnish down so that it sticks on. Dawn's glue is really good at sticking. Just got to sometimes give it a little burnish on these thicker cards to make sure it's on, especially when I'm just going to start cutting it out straight away without giving it any time to think about sticking. There we go. And I'm just going to stick these on as well with a very, very tiny border. This is not something you have to do. This is just me. I just wanted it to have a little gold edge because I thought it looked better. But you could stick them on without it, or you could use your pens, or a bit of glitter, a bit of stickles around the edge. Dawn was doing that, wasn't she, with where they've got like the 4 matting and layering to save doing the matting layering. You see on the on this card, I probably cut it off. There was a little bit of an edge on that card, which could have acted as your 4 matting layer, and then all you would do is put some stickles on it instead of using the card at the back. So D is telling us that she sounds like Parmez. I think was she like a West Country kind of accent? I remember her when I was little, watching her on the telly, and she was always on doing her poems. I'm not sure if she was West Country. There we go. So if anybody has any requests, please put them in. I don't mind taking anything that you'd like me to have a go at or do. So next week again, I think it'll be another fairly simple live. I think today's fairly simple stuff going on because I was away to see Isla. and next week I'm away to see Isla again, so I'll probably be something fairly straightforward again next week's live, which I'll do on the Sunday, because Dawn's not going to be on Sunday, so I'll do Sunday night, just to give you a bit of company, and you can keep me company as well. But I'll be away for a few days, so I'll probably again look at something straightforward. Yeah, West Country with German would be a mixture. Imogen's been in Germany for a year, studying at the university over there in Bremen in the north of Germany, and would sometimes be on the FaceTime or the phone to her. And she was living in a flat where they only spoke German, and it was just so lovely to hear her flitting. She was talking to me in English, and then she'd just suddenly be flitting into German, talking to her flatmates if they were coming by, and you know, it's been really good for her, learning the language really well. There, so I think they just look a little bit better with the little bit of gold around. Just sets them off a little bit more. So I'm going to put those ones there. Did I say I had a bow to stick on as well? Let's do that. So there's nothing really too hard. It's just deciding where to put things, isn't it? And which of the different lovely toppers to use out of Joan's collections. Germany's where I call my proper home. Oh, well, she's enjoyed it, but I think she was definitely ready to come back. Unfortunately, she broke her foot. So this last term, when she was hoping to be, it was the summer term and everybody was going to be out having picnics and having a good look at, you know, around the city and doing things, going for days out. She broke her foot and she was stuck in doors for quite a bit. So she was a bit fed up. I think she was ready for coming home. And we are ready to have her back because we've missed her. So next year she has one more year at uni at Nottingham to do, and then we don't know, she'll have to see what she feels like doing then, because I don't think she knows quite what she wants to do, but it's all right. You've got time. They're still young, trying to work out what they want to be doing. Well, that's little Immy, not so little Immy. There we go. So, don't know if I'm crafting underneath the camera today or whether I'm crafting it myself a little bit. Sorry if I'm coming off it a little bit. I am going to put that little one up there, and I just think I need another little something down there, which may be a larger cone to fill the space. No, I think it might be a little, not a bit of her, a bit of that, just in that bottom corner. Another little bit done. It might be that little one. I'll do these two. We'll see which one we fancy, because I've got another card we can use them for. I'm just going to get the edges off that so it's not so stark. There we go. That's it. And tonight is Argentina, I do believe, with Spain. So I feel like we may be supporting Spain, seeing as Argentina beat us. That may be the way we're going. But I don't think we'll be watching it because Imogen's home. Wesley likes to have films and things to show her and get her doing, so no doubt he'll have a film on for her and be discussing that. I think they're taking Albie out for a walk as well, so if there's no Albie being noisy tonight, it's because they're taking him all out. Yes, I think we'll all hope Spain wins, because I do think they were a little bit dodgy, Argentina, the way they were playing. They did actually have a lot of the possession at their end, and I was expecting that they were going to get a goal or two, but they were a little bit naughty as well. So I don't think anybody's going to be wanting them to win. sorry, I'm off the page again. Goodness me, let me bring myself back in here. What am I doing? I'm not cutting in front of you all. I know it's only cutting, but still, I'll be looking at nothing. I keep sitting back. Just feeling like I need to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. I'll just try this little one out and see what we think of this one before I do the other one. I'm not being too careful here. Right, let's get these little fellas ready, and I'll put that to the side. That's it. Put some glue on there. I'm going to have a little bow up in the corner. I'm going to do picking up the ferns and that because they're in the background of the picture, and that's why I thought I would go for those. So I'm going to be bringing that one up there, that one down here, and this one under here. There we go. So it's quite simple in the corner all together, but I think that looks good, so we're going to go for that. I'm going to stick that one down there, but I'm going to put a little bit of foam underneath. Let me see where my where I am. I think we can get away with a little bit on that side, and then it can sit nicely. This one was going to go here, so that wants a tiniest little bit of foam under this bit, so it can sit up there. Yeah, we are playing for third place. We hoped. Yeah, so France and England are on tonight as well. Oh, you see, I don't follow this football. I missed that. So people will be watching that game more than they'll be watching the other one, more than likely. Right, put that one in there. Put that one in there. Feel like I want that under that corner, and then I want this on top. Do I want that there? No. Hang on a second before I stick anything down. That one's going there. That one's going there. That's going to be flat. So let's do that. Just down that side. Trying to remember where I put it as I do it. See, I don't follow the football enough to know what's going on, to be fair. But I know a lot of you are following it, so I'll try and make sure that I'm off and about, not on too late. But I do want to go and spend a bit of time with Imogen, seeing she's just back as well. Have a little chit chat, see what she's up to. I'm going to try and go there with that one and hope that it looks okay. There we go. It's fine. That one's going to go here, but I'm going to do that one flat. Is it the final tomorrow night? Oh, you see, that's how I know nothing, you see, Joanne. I just assumed it was going to be the final tonight, but actually it's more likely everybody will be wanting to get off and watch that than if it's the final, if it's the third place tonight. So I shall not be on too long. I'm going to just chop a little bit of that off because I want to poke it in a bit more. And poke that in there. Let's see if I can get it under. That's it. So I'm going to go in there with that one. Right, stick a bit of glue there. See, I know nothing about football. I actually don't mind watching it if it's in real life. So when I've been to a football match, it's quite, I think that's the same with even anything. Like, I wouldn't really choose to go and watch a game of cricket on the telly, but if you go and watch it out actually at the time, it's quite good. And it's a bit like that with most of the sports, apart from rugby. I could sit and watch rugby anytime. But football is better in real life, I think, than it is on the telly. But I did get quite into it the other night, I have to admit. That probably could do with a little bit of a a tiny bit of that under there, and get one under just to hold it on a little bit better. Tiny bit of foam pad just to hold it, because I didn't give it any on that. That's it. There you go. So that's number one, and all we've done is an embossing folder background that we've used, which is like the Christmas roses with some lovely gold waxy stuff to pick the pattern up. And then we need some glittery bits, don't we? What have I got? I think I've still got a little bit of unicorn left, which tends to be my favourite one. So I'm going to stick a little bit of that in the candle. Give it a little bit of a shine. And there. Where else? I feel as if I might go for a different one, maybe a stardusty one. On some little bits of in a minute, I'll just make sure it's coming. There it is. Just a little bit of stardust on that, a little bit of snow at the bottom. That'll be nice. And the frosting on the snow. And maybe a little bit on here, just to make the cones sparkle a little bit. Just do little dibbles. Favourite thing, the stickles, isn't it? I love it. It's always really good. It's nice. That looks a bit blue actually. I should have probably stuck with the unicorn on it. Maybe we'll pick some of this colour up on the top ones and see what that looks like. This is like a goldy colour. Yeah, I should have gone for that. That would have been a bit better. Because it's kind of the brown that's on there. Right, hang on a second, everybody. Who's just arrived and saying sorry so late? Karen and Helen, and Norma's there. I don't know if I've said hello to everybody. Hello, Karen and Helen and Norma. I think I've missed you being there. I'm just going to wipe off some stickles because I've changed my mind what colour I'm using. That looked a bit blue in the light. That's stardust. Wasn't quite right. Wipe it off quick. And I've got this brown sandstone, which is a bit coppery, not coppery, like a goldy colour. I think that's better for those pine cones, and I'm just dibbling it round randomly. I think that'll be all right, just to highlight the pine cones a bit. That's better. I like that more. I think it looks all right. There's a little something there. There's brown. I'll put that on there. That's it. And I think I'm also going to get a bit of this sunburst and try and get that candle a little bit more yellow. I've got that. That's it. It all settles down. It kind of melts in. So that should be fine. So there's a card done. Nothing too fancy, but it looks really good with that embossed background, I think, that we've put on. Just makes it a little bit more special, and the lovely little embellishments cut out from Dawn's stash. I think I probably would have liked a little 3D star on there, so if I go back through the kit and see if there's one the right size, I might put a little 3D star on there as well, because I think that would be nice just as a 3D element on it. And then if you want to, you can pop a sentiment on as well, or leave it as it is. So there's a nice card done. I quite like that one. So that's the next one. So let me see what's next. Put that in front of you to have a little look at. Can you see comments tonight, Joe? Hello, Joe. I hope you can see the comments tonight and you can join in. Yeah, it's really difficult sometimes on the lives, isn't it? It's hard work doing the helping backstage, if you like. That sort of doing the lots and the listing is quite hard work with all the buffering. So now the next card, it was this one that I was going to use again. So I've got the same embossing folder, which I think is a bit like a Christmas rose. So that's why I've chosen that one, and it was one I got from Dawn. So I've got that one, which I'd like to use, and I'll go and get the card bits that I have ready for it, which I've put behind me. There they are. I've got a few little bits and bobs to do for this one. Done a little bit of prepping again. So we're going to let me put these flowers somewhere. I've got some of Dawn's flowers to do. So again, I've got this nice embossed background. I'm going to spin it over, and I'm going to use the debossed side again rather than the embossed side. And the one I did earlier on, just to have a go with it, is a greeny background, and I thought that green was a little bit too bluey green for the colour for the card that I'm going to do. So I'm going to try it with the forest green I've got here and see what that's like. So we're going to have a go with forest green on here. I'm going to take this one out the way so I don't make a mess on that. I'm going to get my little bit of card out to do my messing on, and then I'll be able to use it again later. So this is the deboss side, so the inny bits. So the side that you normally want is this bit where it sticks up and it's all embossed and it's raised up, and I'm going to turn it over and go for the debossed. And I've got some dark green. This is actually a spruce, so I'm hoping that this is going to be more of the colour that I want than the other one I had, but we'll try. And I'm just going to very carefully, it's still a bit blue, it's fine. I'm going to go over this with the green. I'm not going to go really heavy, go one way. I'm going to cut it down in a minute as well, and then I'm just going to go that way as well. So I'm just kind of kissing the page with the colour in the background. And it's picking up some of the flower leaves, petals. Looks nice. Not going too mad. There we go. That's it. But I think that might be slightly, that was quite a blue. You can see it's slightly different. I don't know whether I would be brave. I might go over with a, let me just try a little bit down the bottom, because I can always take it off. Is that any different? Well, this is another metallic-y ink that I've got. Anyway, there we go. So we've done that on the deboss side, like we did with the those peacock ones at the beginning. There we go. So that's what I wanted on there. And the other thing I would like on it is some more of my gold. So get your wax or your paste, whatever you've got. I'm going again in the middle of the flowers with gold to pick out the middle, the centres. So this time I'm not going to go on all the flowers, just the centre part. Yeah, it's nice just to do both sides, isn't it? Have a little bit of a change and do them. This is a one that I could paint quite nicely as well. I could actually get like a bit more careful and paint the flowers in if I wanted to. paint them or use some nice pastels on. There's loads you can do with embossing folders. I could be here doing them all day really with different things. I just thought I'd give you a few ideas, but I'm sure you've all got other ways that you use them. There we go. Putting a fair bit of gold on, just it's easier for you to see it on the screen as well if I go a little bit heavier, I've found. So I might not go as heavy with the green or as heavy with the gold in real life, but sometimes when it's on the screen I look up and think, oh, I need to go a bit more so you can see it. There we go. So in the centre of all those flowers, getting mucky again. That's why I didn't bother washing my hands, because I knew I had this one to do. So we're going to cut this down to fit a card as well. Going to give up the market. I've decided I'm going to give up the market. Oh, Helen, you'll have to explain a bit more what you mean. Let me just wipe my hands on my rag, just to get some of the wet off. There we go. Just wet my rag and wipe my hands. I think my rag's ready for a wash in the washing machine. There we go. No, we've got that done. And I'm going to give that a little wipe before I get any more of that all over me. That's it. 9 o'clock, so we're still all right. I'm not holding anybody up for the football still. Right, so we'll get the card base out and then I'll be able to work out how much to cut that one up. So again, I've picked a forest green card base, so we'll make that by just folding it in half. This is some of Dawn's forest green linen card. I thought I would use that one. I've got a nice forest green colour. So that's that. And I did think we would have another gold mat and layer again on there. So let's cut that. Market on Saturday to sell cards, but they don't know. Do you know my mum, when she used to go caravanning a lot, and she would always set up a little stall outside the caravan and put her cards out. It should do it for charity. She'd put a little notice up saying, please, you know, take a card and put some money in the pot for charity. And people should go to the end of the day, and it was very evident that people were putting in like 10 pence and 20 pence and 50 pence, and that like they'd taken cards and they weren't really prepared to pay for them. So, you know, even for charity, people were not putting their hand in their pocket just for a little bit of something. So that's just a bit under 6 when it's halved. So I'm going to go about there. Hang on a second, I'll go that way. Don't want to waste it. What did I say? 6. Under 6 or over 6? Under 6. Right, let's go I don't know about there. See if that's the right size. There we go. That one up there. That's it. And then I just want to be round about there. You can see it when it's on this card, can you? Let me measure it again because I can't see where I've put my mark. That's about 8 1/4. So if I go down to there, it should be all right. And this is much better now. I've replaced my blade. So we're going to stick that one on top of that one. Like that. Lovely. And then where's my card base? This needs to be trimmed down again to fit that. 6. It wasn't quite 6 and 5.5, was it? Let's take a bit off each side to start. Take a smidgen off that one. A smidgen off that one. We'll try and make it similar. There we go. See if I've got the width right. Pick up my gold again. That'd be nice. Yep, then I just want a bit off each top and bottom again. So if I take off about a quarter off the top and the bottom, that should fit nicely. That off there, that off there. I'll take it off the top and the bottom and then it'll look all right. There we go. That's that one on top of that one. Right, lovely. So I'm going to gut this one again, but I'm not going to gut the topper this time. So I'll pop that to the middle there. And to that inch. So I've been down at Sheffield, Louise. I think that's not far from you, South Yorkshire, for a couple of days to see Isla. That's where she's going to be starting a new job in a couple of weeks, well, a couple of weeks time, not long. Did I got that right? Near enough. Sell cars for £2 people and people say it's too much. Oh no, it's just for all the handmade and the bother doing them. It's just awful that people won't pay that, and you know they cost a fortune in the shops. If you get something that's boring, just normal, you pay £2.50 for. But when it's handmade, you'll be paying £4 or £5 for them. But yeah, people don't want to spend the money. And it's a shame. All the effort that will go to. So I don't think I've ever sold. So that's going to go on there and that's going to go on there. I just want a smidge extra off that bottom. I think a smidge just didn't feel quite right. There. Smidgy smidge. There we go. There, so it's the same. I'm not doing anything different in the style. It's just a slightly different way to use the embossing folder background, which is what I've decided today's about. There we go. And I'm using Dawn's lovely woodland tails. However, I do believe that I've used, wait till I get this one out. This one is not woodland tails this time. This one is traditional Christmas. I'm going to pick out which of these ways around we want to put it. I don't think it really matters. I'll put that one on there. Get that lined up. I do think I'm a very wonky person today again. There we go, get that on. Yeah, I've gone for the traditional Christmas. I've picked one out for this one. So I'll show you that. Oh, that's really good. Michelle, you're lucky. You get to sell them for that. But, oh, do you know, I haven't put enough glue on. Hang on. Tell you what would be best if I burnish it down, and it will stick better. That's it. So I'll get my little folder out and burnish that there. It's because I've got an embossed side. This is not Dawn's glue. This is because I've got glitter card, which is hard to stick to. And I've got an embossed piece on that side sticking up and down all over the place. So it probably would have been better if I'd stuck a bit of red liner on there. It would have been more sensible, especially with me gutting it as well there. if it's going to stick this time. That's good of the shop to do that. They're not taking a little cut for it. Yeah, I think it must be quite hard to sell. I could imagine some friends and family sort of asking me to make cards if they needed any, and then giving me a little bit of something for them. I should have really stuck that with red liner. It'll be all right. I think it'll go down eventually. I'll do it again. Put a load on this time. There we go. Thank you everybody for joining me, and if you're watching on catch up, thank you very much. Actually will try and get myself caught up on the YouTube, because I've got a few that are still not loaded, and I know there was some people asking about some of them, so I'll try and get them all loaded on the next few days. That can be my little job tomorrow if I'm not doing anything much. There we go, so that's nice, I like that. And then we need the card topper bit that was going to go on it. Where have I put that? There it is. So this one, I've chosen something from the traditional Christmas, and because I've got the these rose kind of Christmas roses in the background on the embossing folder, I found one in the card pack that was a Christmas rose and holly. So I thought that would be a nice top to go on this time. And again, I've got the gold edging to set it off like that. That's it. Yep. So that's what we're going to do for this one. Pop them on here. That's it. See, that stuck straight on because it's a flat to flat, and it was just because that's got the embossed surface that it was a bit of a temperamental piece. It's still a little bit damp on there. You can see the green is a little bit wet, so I'll have to let that dry before I would use it. I'm going to put this up onto foam pads again. That'd be nice. Oh, that's a shame, Helen. My mum does a bit of crafting, but she's not doing as much lately, so she's still doing a lot of knitting and crocheting though, so she keeps herself busy with that. I haven't gutted this one this time, but that's all right. I think this year people are going to be getting them little boxes of cards that I made, because I've ended up with two. I think I've got 2 boxes I made, didn't I, for one of the lives, so they'll be good for. I've got some friends that will normally give each other just a little token Christmas present each year and go out for a meal and have a drink out. We used to all live in the same cul-de-sac, so we'll call ourselves the cul-de-sac gang. And we usually just give each other a little small thing. So I thought, oh, this year I might just give them a little pack of cards that I've made. That'd be quite nice. Right, and I'm going to stick this one on again. Stand up a second. Give my legs a little stretch as well. This is the bisque card from Dawn as well that came in the pack of Woodland Tale extras, but she does sell that one separately. Is that about right in the middle? It'll do. Can't see, but it'll do. Right, it's slightly over wonky. Doesn't matter, because I'm going to put something down here, so I think that'll hopefully detract from any wonkiness of what I've done. Right, so what I've decided I've found, thought I might try some of Dawn's flowers, just as a little bit on the corner on this one. So these ones, I'm not sure whether this is a ruffle buttercup. But I thought that was the nearest flower I had to being the Christmas sort of rose shape. but it was a little bit too white. If you look at the colour there, I decided that I needed it a different colour. So I've got my brown that I had ready done already, and all I've done is ruffled the ruffle, done that over the top of my flower with my brown ink. That was just what was left on the brush, nothing fresh on there, and it's just taken that whiteness off it, so you can see it should blend a bit better. It's not bright white anymore, blends better with that picture. And then the other thing I did, I'm just going to cut the leaves off because they're just in the way of my hand. The other thing I've done is I've got that sandstone stickles, and I've taken some of that and I'm going to pop that in the middle to change the centre a little bit to a glittery sort of browny sandstony goldy colour. So that's that one. Mum's birthday card went with her in the coffin. She'll always get a birthday card every year. Oh, passed away on her birthday. That's a lovely idea to do that. There. It's difficult, isn't it, these getting older business. It stops being birthday parties and weddings and babies that you're all celebrating, and it gets to be a little bit more sad things. So we've got to do our crafting to keep us sane and keep us busy. There, so that's what I've done with the flowers, just to change them up a little bit, so hoping that the ones I did earlier are all ready to be used. So I'll bring them over and see if they're dry. Yeah, so they're all good. Now I'm also going to just cut them off quite close to the base. These are nice because they've got a little knobble there that keeps the flower on. If I cut just underneath there, I think it's going to stay together. Some of them you've got to be careful because the flower just falls apart. Depends where you cut it. So if I cut it right up here, it would just fall apart. So I'm just going to cut it below that little knobble where I know that it's going to stay intact. And I'm cutting them all off so I can use them. I've got these leaves. If I do want to use these, I can. But I'll show you the picture that I'm using. This one. I was looking, I don't have all of my Christmas things are all in a box under the stairs, and I wasn't going to get them out today. So I've had a little scratch around and I found these ones that I've got at the minute. And I thought they were the nearest shape I had that was similar to this bit in the background. So I've got my flower that's similar, and that's my next similar coloured, similar shaped leaf. So that's the leaf that I've chosen. But I'm going to show you what I've done. I decided they weren't quite the right colour, so I have painted them because they're plastical paint. So that colour I think goes better than the pale. You can see there. So I'll show you how I've done that. Now you can just get your, this is like a metallic acrylic. So you can get, if you've got any nice metallic acrylics, or Dawn's got some of those pearlized, I've got this big one that's the white, the pearl 3D accents. You could paint it with that. And she's got different coloured ones of those, or you could tint that. I've got a gold Allegro Super Gold, so you might have some greeny coloured ones that you could use. But what I've actually used for today is an acrylic marker pen. So I found that to be a lot easier and quicker. So that was out of my stash, but you can use your paint. So I'll just show you what I did. Put my leaf up there. Just got my marker pen, and it just paints over dead easy. So some of you might have these acrylic marker pens, or you can just paint over using your metallic paints and then leave them to dry. This is nice and quick and easy. You could also probably get away with alcohol markers, so they tend to go onto a lot of surfaces. It's worth a try if you don't have anything else in your stash. But I have got these lovely green, like a metallic green. I've got a whole set of metallic acrylic markers, so I think they're called acrylic. They're it says it's water based. Yeah, it's acrylic, dual tip acrylic marker. Make sure I'm telling you the right thing. So I just painted on one side, give it a paint on the other side in case anything flips over. Don't have to be as accurate on the back. And then I just left them to dry. So that's that. Lovely. So I've changed, don't be frightened of actually changing the colour up a little bit with some of these bits and bobs that we get from Dawn with our flowers. If it doesn't quite go with what you want it to go with, then have a little bit play and colour it up. Paint it up, see what goes on. So that I'm going to leave that one because that'll have to dry. But I did make some earlier on to do the decorating with. And let me just do my fingers again. Who's up for a chat later on the new WhatsApp group? Which was the new WhatsApp group? Got loads of Dawn Bibby WhatsApp groups. If you're not in them, if you don't know about them, we have a little chat group, main chat group. Then there's an extra support group for if you're having a difficult time and you just want a bit more support from the ladies. You've got some sort of thing that's upsetting or bothering you, or you want to rant, let off a bit of steam. That's the supportive chat group. There's a selling one where if you've got any little bits you want to sell, you can do. So yes, have a little look on the group and see where there is to have a little chit chats. Now I should have probably had my glue gun at the ready. Yeah, it can be after Angela's live. That's good. I'm trying to try and finish off. Hopefully there's not much left to do. If I be quick with this one, I can always finish it later. So I'm going to really just build a little corner again with my threes. Threes are a good number. I should have had my glue gun ready. I have not got my glue gun ready. However, I shall use the 3D gel instead. And we're going to pop those on there. And let me see if I've got what else I've got. I've got a little bit of holly. So let's have a look and see if we want to put some of that down first in the corner to match up with that one. There's another little bit there if I decide I need a bit more, and then I can put these ones in to here and put my little bits of flowers on. So I might put that holly at the base just as another little bit of extra there. Don't rush. Sorry, I know I've just suddenly see the time and think, oh, everybody wants to go and watch the football. Hurry up, hurry up. But there'll be some of you who don't. So I shall be able to just get finished, and if I'm off by 10, hopefully you're not going to miss it if you do want to watch it. Right, I just went over on that corner, so I've slipped me. I can hear Albie crying through the window and he's having a little bark. We'll put that one there. That's it. I think they're going to have to I'm going to have to do something with him. I thought he's been really quiet because I was away a couple of days. Wesley looked after him. And today he's just slept and slept and slept. And I thought, has he just not been sleeping while I've been away? And he's now catching up on it, but he's obviously woken up now. He does this on a night time. Gets his second wind and wakes up. Right, where's the heavy body gel? Oh, there it is. Heavy body gel is going to be my friend today because I haven't got my glue gun ready. And hope that we can get that to work. Yeah, really, I thought it'd be nice to use some of the 4 flowers as well, because I've just used the first card was just the was just the paper flowers from the kit, and I thought, oh, I'll try and get something going with the real flowers on this one and do a little bit of painting with these. You can cut these down if you want to make them any more. And I shall hopefully cover all these bits up with my, don't know about that one yet, so I'm going to get rid of that. Then I'm going to put my flowers on, probably where it would be a lot easier with the glue gun, because I almost have to build like a little pile of gel on top to get it to stick upright where I want it, where the glue gun or the other one would probably be a lot quicker and easier. You know, the pot, the glue pot, might be all right to use, but I'm just going to try and get these where I want them. I'm going to just go for 3s because odd numbers seem to be a good number. I just use my spatula when I'm using my heavy body gel, and it will all just dry clear, so I'd rather use more and know that it's going to stick and it's going to dry clear. I won't see it once it's actually on. Let me just lift it up so I can see myself there. And then I do think I might come in with these. I might take some of them off, and then a second get that one off and get those ones off. Can always poke them in. Take that little end off, and I think I'm going to go in there with that one. And Dawn does have the heavy body gel, but she's also got her glue guns, and you can get I think, you know, Jackie got one and it's been really good. She's liked hers, so you can get a one that is adjustable temperature, which is slightly more money, or you can get one that's just one temperature, so depending on what you're using it for. I have a glue gun that's just one temperature, and it's plugging in with a wire. Right, let me just hold this up a minute while I'm working out what else I'm doing. I want a little bit more of the holly round that side. I'll just use the gel as a glue because I can just put a little thin bit in and pop that one on there. That'll stick down. And do I want any more little bits there? Let's have a little look. I need to see it while I'm doing them. No, but I think I probably could have got away with actually making them smaller. Maybe I've made them too big because I hadn't practiced this beforehand. I feel like the little tiny ones, it might have been quite cute. Let's pull that one out and make it a bit smaller. Just feels like a little bit too big. Poke it under. That's what's good about this gel, because it takes a bit longer to dry. It's a bit more forgiving, so if you think you're going to make any mistakes and you're not sure where you want your leaves, you can pull them out and do them again, because you've got that little bit of extra time with it. The gel's going to take a while. That'll be dry by tomorrow, definitely, but it just gives me another opportunity to pull things out and pull things back in again. I think that's looking all right. Does that look all right? Getting there. Right, and I need another little bit down the bottom. Have I got any more? This is the one I'm using, Traditional Christmas. That one. So that's the one I've got for this. Just going to see if I've got another bit of holly anywhere. 2 seconds. I was cutting some out, so there they are. Got some more holly here. I'll just put my glue there. I don't think it's going to dry in this time. I'll bring a little bit more holly round the corner. Just go for that one. And these ones have got like a little border around them that's in a goldy colour. So again, these ones don't really need that extra matina layering, I don't think, because they've got that little extra border, and it makes it a bit easier for you doing your cutting as well. So you've got that little shadowy border around it, so you don't have to go right up to your green leaves. That bit, I've just gone a little bit around, hang on. Thank you, ladies. So I think Dawn had some Christmas kits, but if she has no more little sort of flowers that look like a Christmas rose left to do any more kits, then I think it's a ruffled buttercup that I've used, and I don't know if she'll have any more of them. But we all bought quite a few of those, so it might be that you've already got them. Just go around this, and then we'll get this one on as well. And Dawn will be on tomorrow night, I do believe. And then we'll have Louise on Tuesday afternoon. I think it was 1 o'clock, and we'll have Lorraine on her usual Tuesday night 7:45. I think that one is. And then I think Sarah's coming on Thursday afternoon. So we've got a nice busy week next week, and Dawn's. So the post, I think the post will be going up shortly if it's not already up or already out. Yeah, just wanted a bit more down this corner with the holly. So I'll just use this glue to pop some in there. Get a little bit under there. And if I get too much on, what I tend to do is then go back in with my pokey tool and just pick up the little bits of excess that if they dry clear, but I'll still see the lumps. So I'll just get them off if I've gone a bit over the top with the glue with that. But they should all dry clear, and then if I do see anything afterwards, I'll probably be able to go in with a little bit of a paintbrush. Right, I'm going to hold that up to myself so I can see it. Oh, here's Sarah. Oh, Sam's put the schedule on already. That's good. Yeah, brilliant. Hello, Sarah. Nice to see you. We're nearly finished, but I thought that was just a nice little bit of an element to go on. And again, you could pop your sentiment on, or you might want to put another little bit of something at the top corner. And I've got another flower. If I did want to put anything on later, I can pop another little flower up there with one little bit of something, or like the last card that we did, I just popped a little ribbon in. I put the little ribbon in the top corner. I think that looked quite nice. Have I got any ribbons? There's that cut here. There's some nice red ribbons on here. So we could always have a little ribbon on the top corner if we wanted to as well. Anyway, we don't have to do it all now, do we? I can decide. It's not like me to finish something completely. I usually have a little bit of something to fiddle with the next day. I don't like getting them all done. Oh, I've cut that so quickly there. I've just cut the corner off the blooming ribbon. That wasn't very well done, was it? I'm going to have to cut it close to the ribbon now. And not use my little four grey gold border that's on it. I hope you're all right, Sarah. You've been watching your little friend on the other channel before you've come over. Have you been busy? I clash with another channel that Sarah likes to watch on a Saturday. But thank you everybody for joining me. I think we've been all right with the numbers. And considering, I think summertime, we might get a few missing from holidays shortly as well. But hopefully still all be there, and we can watch on catch up again as well. So I could always have another little ribbon in that top corner. if I want to, but I don't know if I want to, so I'm going to leave it for now because I'm not too fussed on my little ribbon, but I'm going to leave that as card number 2 that we've done. So let me put my glue down a minute, and I've got one more. I think I've got a little bit more. Let's see the time. Yeah, we've only got 15 minutes. Done quite well with the time then to get done for you. Do I want that red flower on the corner, that red ribbon on the corner? I don't know. I will decide later because I'm a bit torn whether I want it or not. I'm going to just mop that little bit of glue up and push them out the way for now. Show you these other little lovely things. So the other card, I had another one, but I don't know whether we'll actually do that one or not. One more little thing to show you, which was some more messing about with embossing folders. And this time, let me see if I can find it. I was going to use these little ones. This is an embossing folder that I didn't get from Dawn. So it was a little bit like, oh, you know, shall I show you? But let me see. The idea was, this is something I've seen, you've probably seen it from another channel, because there is another lady who does this, that I know probably a lot of you already go to as well. So this is some of Dawn's background paper from the Woodland Tales. This is an embossing folder that embosses and cuts a shape out. So just pretend it's like the other one though. Could have made another one the same as my other one where it's got the embossed detail around the outside. I'm going to use this one as a frame. And then what she does, I'm sure you've probably seen, to pick up the embossing that you've done over the top. So I'll show you the paper I used, then you can see what I mean. Just another idea to use for your paper. You can use pattern paper. So you could use some of this. I've had that one. I've used this one for here. So I've cut the corner out there. You can see that. Cut the corner out of that. And then I've embossed it. So that's just another idea. Use the pattern papers to emboss as well. And then if you want that to stand out a bit more, you can go quite grungy. And on my grungy one, I've got green ink and gold embossing stuff. So that's totally changed the colour and gone quite grungy on it. This one, I thought we could maybe just... Let's have a think what colour we might do on that one. Let me see if my grey one picks it up at all, because it's like a silver grey. Yeah, that one might pick it up. So again, let me get me a bit of paper underneath because I don't like to waste my ink. I'll just put it on. I'll put it on top of one of these because it doesn't matter. I'll be able to use that again. There. So I'm just going to use this is a greeny grey. So it's quite a paler colour, but it's just going to pick up that embossed detail on top of the patterned card. So that's quite a nice way to use some of Dawn's background papers if you want to emboss them. And then you can pick up the embossed detail with your inks like we've done with the other backgrounds. So you don't have to just use a plain bit of paper. You can use a bit of coloured paper. And that is a greeny, kind of greeny grey metallic. I think that's quite a nice colour that I've got there. But you can have a little look through your stash and use some of your inks, because this is not in one. It's not a Dawn's ink. But you can see it just totally changes that background paper and gives it a little bit of something. Now I have also looked at, do you remember that gel stuff that I used one time to do as a resist? It's also something that I think you can put over the top of, when you've put your inks on, you can put it over the top and rub it on, and it helps it sort of not sort of come off again, like fixes it a little bit. So I think that's also another use of that you can use that for. But there, so that's just something different on that background again, where I've embossed it onto pattern paper. So that was just something else I wanted to show you. And then I looked at Dawn's little fellas. These are lovely. And I was just putting these behind and deciding who I might want in my little frame. You can see they're quite cute. And if you wanted to, we could put a bit more gold on there as well. Maybe around the edge to do the framing. You can see they're quite cute though, aren't they? And there's a robin. That's nice. I quite like the robin, and I quite like the little squirrel with the lantern as well. That's quite nice. So I think what I was going to do, I will do, is I'm just going to go around the edge there with the gold, where I'm going to have it mounted next to the, you see that's got like a little frame on it. I'm going to put the gold on there. Who's going to go at the beach? Went to the beach. Oh, nice. George Asper, have you been to the beach? Well, I'm about 15 minutes in the car from our little beach, which is quite good. It gets very busy in the summer months when the kids are off school, but it's nice on it. I love it in the winter time when it's really hardly anybody there. Take the dog down. And I love the wet and the rain and the wind and the waves in the winter and the autumn. Love it when it's a bit colder. So I probably get a little bit too hot and bothered in the sun. There, I just think that that just adds a little bit to that frame. There. Doesn't matter if I've gone a little bit over the edge either. That's really nice. So have a little hunt out and see what you've got for your there. So now that just means that because they're all similar colours, it's just picking up that little bit. Can you see that a little bit better with the critter in the background now? I think we can, and I think I'm probably going to do the same just around the edge of it here as well. Just using my fingers. You could use your daubers if you want to save your fingers. I'm already messy today, so I'm not bothered how messy I get. But I just think it'll just pick it up a little bit around the edge. And I probably then don't need to be thinking of any matting and layering when I get it onto a card. This one I haven't got all the bits ready for. I just had found the little embossing folder and thought, oh, that's another nice embossing folder. It's Christmassy with it's got a poinsettia down the corner and the berries. And I like the idea where you put the embossing folder on it, on the pattern paper. I think it's a really nice effect. And just in case you haven't seen it done, I'm sure a lot of you know already, because we all follow the same people all the time, don't we? I'm sure. Anyway, that's a little bit of gold around the edge of there as well, so that just picks that up a little bit. There we go. Love the sea. So I lived by the sea from about the age of 14, where we moved to when I was 14. So I used to take the dog out for a walk all the time in those teenage years. So I think that's really, really lovely. I do like that. So I think I'm going to get some of the green. Oh, I don't know. Let's have a little look. We'll very quickly just mat it and layer it. We don't have to make it into a card. The other colour that is quite nice with these is this kind of silvery colour that comes in with Dawn. So I know it's not gold, but it just gives you that sort of wintry feel in the background as well, doesn't it? So that's quite a nice one. I might just go back to that green for the minute, because I know I've got my green handy. And we'll matte and layer this on to some green. See what that's like. So I've used that sort of greeny grey kind of colour to pick the embossing up. So I think the background in green will be really lovely. So what I want to do is I want to have that on there and then that on there lifted up. So let me get this cut to the right size. Let me measure this. Embossing folder, it's not one from Dawn. I'll message you. The same person who does this technique where she puts a colour pattern paper in and embosses it and then puts a colour over. She often uses white. However, I'll message you. Just I think she's friends with Dawn, so probably not. I'm not actually probably not allowed to tell you. I probably am. That's 4 3/4. It's the Stamps by Me. I'll just say, because it's not. It isn't one of Dawn's. I don't know if Dawn has got any like that, but she might have. But there you go. So it's a really nice one with the cut out the middle. That's 4. I'm going to do it at 5 just to get me a little border round. Doesn't have to be much for border. Pop that down there. This is just going to be a topper for now, so we don't need to make it properly, and I can still finish for you going off and about. That's 6 3/4. So I'm measuring it just so I get it right. You can do it by eye if you would like. I'll go to 7. Was it 6 3/4 I said? I can't remember. Let's have a look. I know it's nearly time to finish when I start finding my hole in my room is like a mess, and I'm getting bits all over me stuff because it hasn't sort of dried yet. Yeah, that green over there will be lovely. Now I want this in the middle, underneath. So I'm going to position that on underneath first, where I want it. Let's just see. Like that. Now, one idea I had, if I wanted it to be flat, was to cut the tail out and bring it onto the top. But actually, I'm going to lift it up on thingamajiggamies, foam pads. So I think that's straight. Leave that there, pick that up. Not quite straight, but I'll straighten it up like that. And I'm going to mark it because I'm not going to see that. So I'm going to give me little corner markers so I know where to place it. Like that. And I'm going to stick it down. She's in Wakefield. But I tried to use Dawn's as much as I can, but that was just a nice embossing cut folder that cut the middle out, and I thought, oh, I can't use my my flowers again. I'll get that one out. But you've probably got loads of things at home anyway that you could use. So I'm sticking that down there, so that's roughly where I wanted it, and then that was going to go over the top onto foam pads. So that's why I've tried to get the positioning right there. So I'm just going to go down. This whole tape is just going to get used up tonight, isn't it? Goes in no time. I've got my big roller rolly one, square ones and rolly ones, so I'll get them out for next time. I have got loads of foam pads and things, so it's all good. I just want to make sure. This would be nice. You could do it as a little shaker, couldn't you? Because because I'm wanting to lift it up a little bit to make it look nice, lifted up. So this would have been a nice, running out of tape, would have been nice as a shaky one. Right, bye Michelle, I'm finishing now anyway. So you haven't missed anything. I'll post them on the page afterwards, and let's hope that we'll have a good match against France. I do feel like I need a bit more tape down that side. Got any more tape anywhere? Foam tape, where are you? I'll use that black. I need a bit there and there. Yeah, night Michelle. And anybody else who's off to watch the match, bye. I will be just about finished. This was the only other little card that I had prepared. They're all just straightforward rectangles tonight. There's no fanciness, but I just thought it's nice to have a go with Dawn's kit and just see what kind of things you can make. And I themed it around embossing folders tonight, so that there would be a little bit of something to think about while we're doing it, and using all of our lovely embossing folders that we have. So I like that being up on the foam pad so it looks like it's framed. So hopefully you agree. That's quite nice. Tool, where are you? There we go. Shouldn't really be using the black when I've got nothing that is to hide the black. It's coming off better this time on my tape. Oh, I've already taken it off that bit. I'm going to take it off again. There we go. Grief. So I will get these uploaded. So if anybody hasn't watched before, I've got a YouTube channel called Angela for Crafts. The 4 is a number 4. So you can find me on YouTube. I've just really only been putting things on for Dawn. Just a fairly new channel. I've got about half a dozen subscribers on something, not many, mostly family. But if you would like to go and have a look at any of the lives that I've done, as many of them as possible, I have been downloading them and loading them onto YouTube, so that you'll be able to watch them again and take your time over doing them. Right, hang on a second, because this is another one I want to come over the top and see what I'm doing, and I can't see. There we go, that'll do, because I can trim it down if it's not quite right. Lovely. So there. Yeah, so it'd be nice if we had a little acetate window in there and we could have some sprinkles in. That would have been a nice thing to do if I'd thought about it before. I've only just thought of it now. But that's lovely. I like that little topper. And again, you could add some more flowers and things, or that could just be a nice simple card as it is, with that embossing folder in the background, Dawn's lovely background paper, and one of Dawn's toppers. And I just think that looks fab. So there you go. Norma's getting new ideas because she's new to crafting. Well, ask away, Norma. And if you've got anything that you're stuck on, please ask. Anything you want us to show you, I'm very happy to take requests. I have done things. Sarah Marchant asked me to do a particular shaped card, and I did a shaped card for her. So I'm more than happy to oblige if there's anything you want to see. Otherwise, I'll just sort of see what I fancy making from the kits that we've got from Dawn, or from things that Dawn sells us. So we did some Stamperia stuff earlier on as well. So I'm just going to move these bits of rubbish here, and I'll put all of the cards out for you to see that we've made. And actually, oh, the good thing, I think I'm sleeping a lot better because I've got my new machine, and that means that I am not actually falling down in a heap at this time of night. I've still got some energy. which is when I have been on lives before, I've probably been running out of energy and not really with it by this time of night. So let's get this green card out to put on the background, and we'll put our little cards out for you to see. I'm going to move that ink out the way. There we go, move those out the way. And make a little mini display. And I'll bring up, actually, see what those first things we did at the beginning where we played around with some colour on the back, on the embossing folders as well. I'll show you those. So the cards we've made, we've got Dawn's Woodland collection. We've got that lovely fox with the stickles and just the embellishments from the kit, cutouts. Got the background embossing folder that we've used, which is highlighted with the gold wax or paste, whatever you've got in your stash. Well, I've got the brand new AirSense 11 machine, Louise, because mine wasn't working. They were reluctant. I nearly cried when I went to the appointment because I thought she was going to send me home again without anything. But then I managed to speak to somebody who was in charge and she said, yes, I could have something. So I've got a new machine and I'm actually sleeping. So that's brilliant. That was the other one that we used Dawn's flowers with. So, and I coloured in the leaves to get them matching more. And again, the background, we used the deboss side this time. And we'll put some ink over and some more gold. So these are some really nice cards. If I do say so myself, somebody's going to have a nice Christmas card. This one just needs putting on a card and deciding what to do with. Really enjoyed doing these, actually. This is a grungy one I did, which I think, you know, we could still do something with it. I did a bit more grunge on that one. And then our little backgrounds. Some of these are still a bit wet. I'm going to lift them up for you to see. This one was the sort of pearly watercolour paints that I just swooshed a load of water on. So that's on the embossing folder. Lovely. And I was going to go over that with some embossing, wasn't I? Embossing things. Just put that there. And you can see this one. And then the other one on the floor. This is nearly dry. This is the one that was the watercolour markers with a load of splushing of ink, water. And then there was the ones that is very wet still, which was just a load of different brush style pigment powders, which is still wet. So that one is a wee bit on the wet side. I think that was all of them. They were the ones that were waiting to dry, weren't they? I think they were the ones that we were wanting to dry. I think even with these, they're a little bit damp, but you could still go over. I've definitely been finding that I'm pleased I've got it now, Dee, because Michelle, because when it hasn't been working for the last few months, I've really been struggling again. It's been like I didn't know like it was before I got on the machine. Just put a little bit on there, just so you can see again. Putting a little bit of shimmer on there if you want to pick out the leaves again with your little bit of wax, picking out those. So I think all these colours are just lush. They're just, it's just really nice, isn't it, to have these different different things you can do with your embossing folders. And just pop a little bit of colour on so we can see that a little bit more. I'm just getting carried away with this. I love it. There we go. Anyway, I'm finished now. I'm just sitting here playing. I wonder what colour that one would like on it. It's just really swooshed up, isn't it? Yeah, might play with that one a bit more. I like these two the best. They're like paler colours. They're my favourite ones there. There we go. Anyway, there we go. We've had a nice time playing with our embossing folders and with Dawn's 2 collections this week, the Woodland Tales and the Christmas, traditional Christmas, and some other flowers. So I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. I've enjoyed myself. Thank you very much for joining me. Anybody who's joining on catch up, thank you very much for taking the time out to watch it after. And anyone on YouTube, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hopefully I'll have a few more things coming. And thanks very much, everybody. I've had a really lovely time. I've enjoyed myself. It's so easy with Dawn's collections to make something really pretty, isn't it? I mean, honestly, they're just a delight to play with. There's nothing fancy. They're just rectangle cards there. Look, I've not done any shape cards, but I think they just look really good. They really, really are gorgeous collections. And then the cards and papers she brings us to use for the backgrounds, just stunning. Loving it. So I'm having a nice time. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me. And hopefully I will see you again next week on Sunday. So if there's any requests, let me know in the chat if there's anything you want to see. Nothing too hard for me to do next Sunday because I will be away during the week for Isla's graduation, so we'll maybe think of something else that's not too difficult to do. But thank you very much for joining me, and I shall see you later. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you. Sending love. Bye. See you soon. Oh, I've got to turn it off on me on the top, not on my phone. I'm busy trying to turn it off on my phone. Bye everyone. Thank you. Take care. Night all.